flag of the United States of America, recognizing the principles for which it stands. Department 107 of the Los Angeles Superior Court, State of California, is now in session. The Honorable Michael E. Pastor, Judge presiding. Please be seated.
In the case of People versus Conrad Robert Murray, Dr. Murray is present in court with his counsel, Mr. Chernoff, Mr. Flanagan, Mr. Gorgian, Mr. Pena. The people are represented by their counsel, Mr. Walgan and Ms. Brazil. All 12 jurors and the 5 alternates are present. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hopefully you had an okay trip coming in, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate, once again, your being prompt. And I'm sorry that we're a little bit delayed. We were just taking care of some legal business, and we're ready to go. So thank you again for your patience. This time, the people may have the witness retake the stand, Mr. Anderson, who's on cross. Mr. Anderson, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Sir, do you acknowledge you are still under oath and still sworn to tell the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you. Resumption of cross, Mr. Flanagan, good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I needed some exhibits. Numbers 156 through 159. Those are them? We were leaving off.
If you could do me a favor, let's wait till Mr. Gorgian comes up for air.
Okay.
On the side here. It may be a little bit distracting because he's checking through some materials at the side of the jury box. So let's just wait. Thank you.
In leaving last night, we were just talking about the analysis of the IV bag that was on the stand.
Correct.
That was analyzed for all chemicals, and the only thing that was in it was saline solution. Is that correct?
No, what I said was that it was analyzed and no drugs were detected in it.
Okay. So the only thing found was just pure saline solution, or was it empty?
We don't analyze for salt solution, so I can't tell you if there was salt solution in there.
Okay. Was there liquid in it?
Yes, I believe so.
You also analyzed the tubing that was attached to that bag?
That's correct.
And that had no drugs in it whatsoever?
Yes.
Objection date is the tubing. It was all attached to the bag.
I've got
just a moment, please. I'll sustain the objection. The last answer is strictly disregarded. You may rephrase, Mr. Flanagan.
I've got item number 157 here. It's the tubing that I believe was previously identified as attached to the saline bag.
Objection. Misstates the testimony.
Sustained.
Well, 156, that's the bag that was hanging in the bedroom. Is that correct?
I don't know. I didn't go to the scene.
It's the saline solution bag.
That's how it was presented to me, yes.
Your Honor, it's previously been identified as hanging in the bedroom.
Let me ask you the next question.
Okay.
Thank you.
And 157 was the tubing that was part of that bag. Is that correct?
Objection misstates the testimony. It was identified as hanging from the IV stand, not attached to the saline bag.
Sustained.
Okay. Do we have a picture of that? The IV stand?
You want us?
Can we get a picture of the IV stand? We have to start over on that.
I mean, you can reference it as tubing and go from there based upon the evidentiary record. That's up to you.
This witness in his records referenced it as medical evidence number 2. That might make it more efficient.
We're having difficulty here. I've got a picture of it.
Again, Your Honor, this witness was references it medical evidence number 2.
I think that would be the preferable way, or some general description of what it appears to be, but you can proceed.
Medical evidence number 2 included tubing, an IV bag, syringe, a Y line attached that the syringe was attached to. Is that correct?
Correct, as well as a short piece of tubing connected to the Y connector.
Okay, now, I'm pointing to the saline bag here. Is that the part of medical evidence number 2 that you analyzed?
That is a saline bag, and I analyzed the saline bag. Whether it's one and the same, I don't know. It was presented to me as a piece of evidence, as evidence number 2.
Did you have a number for that piece of evidence?
It was given medical evidence number 2 as the number.
Did you have you, so you wouldn't be able to identify it by seeing it, huh?
I don't know. I haven't seen it in years.
Medical evidence number 2 consisted of the entire group of items that's attached to that IV bag, doesn't it?
Objection misstates the testimony that they're attached to the IV bag.
Sustained.
Well, they're attached in this picture, aren't they?
Objection misstates the characterization of the picture. This witness is not qualified. He did not go to the crime scene. It's already been testified to by Alyssa Fleek.
All right, we don't have to have editorial comments. The objection is sustained.
Can we approach, Your Honor?
No, you can deal with the evidence as this witness knows it to be, and then deal with it in another context through another witness. So I'm sustaining the objection.
With respect to medical evidence number 2, there was 4 components of an IV system tested, correct?
That's correct.
Is that the only IV system that you tested in
Yes.
this investigation?
Yes.
The IV bag from medical evidence number 2, was it found to contain any drugs whatsoever?
No.
Do you know whether or not the IV tubing that has previously been identified and referred to in medical evidence number 2, do you know whether or not it was attached to that IV bag?
When the laboratory received medical evidence number 2, the entire apparatus, the IV bag was disconnected from the long tubing or the spike. They were not connected whatsoever.
Do you know who had taken them apart?
Objection as soon as facts not in evidence.
Sustained.
So when it was presented, when medical evidence number 2 was presented to you, it was not in this condition, as you see in this picture.
Objection vague.
Overruled. You may answer.
Does it mean attached to an IV stand or?
Overruled. Do you understand the question?
I do.
Overruled. Go ahead.
I mean, again, you're assuming that that's the same IV bag that I received in the laboratory. I mean, no, the spike was not inside the bag when I received a similar or that system.
Did you receive it?
The
Medical
laboratory.
evidence number 2. Were
Yes.
you there when it came into the laboratory?
No,
Then you don't know what condition it was received in, do you?
I do because of the many notes that we take during our laboratory analysis.
And whose notes are those?
They're criminalist Lintamut.
So Lintamut received it.
She's received medical evidence number 2 from our evidence control section.
Okay, and does it indicate that it was separated?
It does.
Does it indicate where the items were found in the house?
It would not because we didn't go to the house.
Is there any doubt in your mind that the medical evidence number 2 came from the house?
Objection relevance beyond the
Sustained.
scope.
I would call for speculation.
Did you analyze any other saline solution bags other than People's Exhibit number 156, which you referred to in medical evidence number 2?
No.
Now, you analyzed 2 syringes total,
2 syringe barrels, yes.
and each of them had propofol and lidocaine.
Correct.
Did you ever analyze any apparatus that had only propofol?
Any apparatus?
Yes.
No, not just propofol.
The only apparatus that you analyzed containing propofol, which would be the Y tubing, the 2 syringes, contained lidocaine also.
Correct.
And the Y tubing and the syringe in medical evidence 2 each had flumazenil.
Yes.
Were the proportions of lidocaine and propofol the same in the Y tubing and the syringe in medical evidence 2?
Proportionality or quantitation was not performed.
Okay. And that is correct of the syringe of medical evidence number 1, too, isn't it?
That's correct.
Yesterday we were talking about some equilibrium, and I forgot to have you define the term equilibrium when as it relates to body fluids. Could you define that?
What I was understanding from your questioning, equilibrium meaning when the samples or the concentrations of the drug are equal in all compartments.
Which is number the... Was it 162? These are all... I can have a moment, John. I need
Please.
to find an exhibit.
Sure.